And good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Gen X Cinema. Hope y'all are having a wonderful Friday night and the start of a fantastic, fun-filled weekend here on Gen X Cinema. Tonight, I've got my two good friends, Jack and Alicia, with me. Just not Jack and
Hello.
Diane. Thankfully, thankfully, because Jack and Diane, well, they can get kind of X-rated, so or well, okay, not X-rated, but adult thing. They can get a bit adult at times. So we got Jack and Alicia instead of Jack and Diane. And tonight we are concluding the saga of Sir Shrek the Green and Loud and Flatulent. And tonight we are discussing Shrek the Third and Shrek Ever After. And if this is your first visit to the cinema, welcome one and all. Hope you'll enjoy the stream, enjoy the discussion, whether you catch this live or on the replay. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit this share button. Share this stream out with all your friends, or this video out with all your friends. And of course, if you enjoy the discussion, hit the subscribe. So, Jack and Alicia, Shrek the Third.
Yeah.
The floor is open. Let us begin.
So I like the way it starts out. It kind of reminds you of how they used to record radio dramas and stuff like that, because you get to see the sound effects and stuff like that with the hooves clopping and stuff like that. Because at first you think Charmin is riding his horse, but then you find out no, he's doing dinner theater, very bad dinner theater, which everybody hates.
Yes.
And then he gets hater commentary from the peanut gallery, or in this case, the three pigs, Pinocchio, Gingy, and the wolf.
Yeah. But meanwhile at home, like Shrek is having a nice life and everything. Like they bring in I think they bring in the donkey dragons immediately, don't they?
We see them briefly, and we also get to see
Yeah.
that the king is not doing well at this point, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, and the team's not doing well.
So Shrek is filling in for his duties and everything like that, and all the mishaps that happen there because he's got the guy who scratches his butt in front of the audience, in front of everybody.
Mhm.
I mean, he's reluctantly filling in, and it's a very funny scene where you see Fiona and him in the powdered wigs, the makeup, the petticoats, and all that kind of stuff,
Right.
and
Trying to look very trying to look like a French monarchy.
yes, trying to be regal and stuff like that. And then Fiona tries to reassure him, and she's like, "I still love you. You look handsome and stuff." And she's like, "It's not much longer," and stuff like that. And then he's like, "Ugh, I can't wait to get back to my swamp." And then he hears a banging at the door. He says, "Well, somebody better be dying." And then that's when we get into the next scene with
Yeah,
the
and
king.
somebody is dying.
Literally, it's the king, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I mean, King Harold. I mean, obviously, he's still a frog. This curse has not been broken. He's still in frog mode,
yeah. So,
and
but they eventually meet this. They eventually meet this guy named Artie.
yes,
Yeah, voiced
Good
by
name,
the
Artie.
Artie or Arthur Pendragon, as as is his proper name, voiced by
Right.
Justin Timberlake.
Yes.
And when I honestly had forgotten that he did the voice of Arthur. And I'm like, oh yeah, Justin
He doesn't
Timberlake
normally
was
do
in
voice
this.
acting.
that's true. Well, I think he did it in the Alvin and the Chipmunks movies. I think it was. I think it was.
Did he?
Or it
Mm,
was, no,
yeah,
no, I'm mixing him up with Jesse McCartney. That's what it is.
Okay.
Let me just double check.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, he's mainly just a solo artist now. I mean,
Yes.
I remember I did security for one of his concerts. Um, God, that was like 2007.
Wow.
It was a
mm,
long time ago. But
yeah.
yeah, I got to watch him rehearse dance He at one point he came out of his. I was watching his dressing room, and he comes out and he's in his full concert regalia at this point. Like he's in like Michael Jackson mode, right? This was his Michael Jackson phase where he did a lot of the moonwalking and stuff, right? And he starts practicing his dance moves like 10 feet in front of me, right? Not even he's not even acknowledging that I'm there or anything, right? He's just kind of he's in his own mind, right? And I'm watching him do these moves, and I don't know, maybe it's something about like the camera angles or the music or the lighting or something about when you see it on film, his dances look great. But when you're just seeing it by itself without any context like that, he looks. I don't want to be
like a spaz.
Yes, I don't want to be mean, but yeah, he did look. It was one of those moments.
He
It was
looked
one of
like
those
a
moments-
very he looked like a
He had
very coordinated spaz, but he still looked like a spaz.
Yes, it was one of those moments where it was like I was so surprised because all those little NSYNC fans, they had grown up and they were really trying to get inside and stuff. And the moment they open the door, you just see all of these like barely legal to and up women just coming in, looking their best and everything, just rushing in. So it was so crazy because it was like I was comparing what I saw of how people were, acting about around him to how he was acting right then, and it was just like in my head I just thought, if I kicked his ass right now, could I keep his fans? It's like,
Well, to kind of bring it back to the discussion,
sorry.
art. No, you're fine. You're fine, because this isn't necessarily art imitating life. Because Arthur is by no means a ladies' man at Worcestershire University or high school or private school or whatever it is. All we know is it's very saucy there.
Yes.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
I did it. I went there. I said it. I don't care, and I regret nothing. And one other thing I want to comment on, this is almost like a miniature Monty Python reunion because we have, of course, John Cleese, and we have later on Mr. Eric Idle as the voice of Merlin, the
Okay.
very absent-minded, very klutzy, and very overly sensitive wizard who accidentally swaps voices between Antonio Banderas and Eddie Murphy, aka Puss in Boots and Donkey.
Yes. He never does get his magic right either, unfortunately.
No, because once he changes their voices back, and then they turn to walk away, and unfortunately their tails have been swapped.
Yeah.
But I think one of the really fun things about this is it carries a natural progression, and it does pick up where the last movie does leave off, and we see that as you both mentioned, Prince Charming has kind of fallen down, had a bad stroke of luck ever since Mommy Not So Dearest got magically poofed out of existence. Although
Yes.
I can say, and there was indeed much rejoicing. Yay.
Nobody misses her, unfortunately, except for him. I think he's the one that misses her. He's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
mommy."
the only person. Yeah,
Right,
he,
that's
and he has a. He misses mummy. It's like mummy. Yeah, and the musical and the dinner theater. I have participated in some dinner theaters that were actually carried off very nicely when I was in college. And I think I've been to like one or two. I think I've been to one dinner theater as a guest, and it
Mhm.
carried off very well. But this is just atrocious because let's just be honest here. Rupert Everett as the voice of Charming, yeah, he's good, but the character of Charming, he couldn't act to save his life.
Mm-mm.
All he's got is his looks, and that's about it. It's all he's almost like the.
You go ahead.
I was just gonna make a joke, so go ahead, Jack. I'll make my joke after.
Oh yeah, no, I was just he so like he had this idea that okay, now that the king is dead, like maybe he can have a chance at the throne, but he's got to get but he feels like because they're trying to push Shrek into the kingdom, into the kingship, and he don't want to do it because that's not his life. So he's trying to find someone who could properly do it. And then that's when he runs into to Arthur, and that's where the plot begins. Basically, that's when the main plot begins.
Yeah. Damn, now I forgot my joke. It's not important. I'll remember it later.
Okay.
You ain't never seen a donkey fly.
It's joke, see?
The donkey fly.
One jokey.
That wasn't my joke, though.
It's not jokey. I've been inspired yet.
Thank you, honey. Yeah, and the other thing about this is Shrek is by no means cut out to be a monarch or a king or anything along those lines, but Fiona believes in him, and Donkey believes in him, and I think even Lillian thinks that he would make a decent king. But
He probably would.
Well, here's the thing. Has there ever been an ogre that was a king? I don't think so. Now,
No.
does that necessarily mean, hey, to quote another movie that we all love and enjoy, a black sheriff, it works. So if a black sheriff can work, why can't an ogre as a king work?
Exactly. Anything is possible.
That's
And
true.
not to mention, to reference another movie, I think it's like from the late 80s or 90s, John Goodman once played a king.
Oh.
Love King Ralph.
John Goodman looks like he could be like you put him in the right clothes, he could be he looks the role. Like
Yes, he does.
hmm
especially when he was like younger and a little heavier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he did play
Yeah.
Babe Ruth at one point.
Oh,
Yeah, but that movie wasn't very accurate because let's be
No.
honest here.
Of course.
Babe Ruth was not that decent. He was a ass.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah,
I
they keep-
will say, one of the scenes that I really enjoy, it's right after Harold the king dies, and they play a clip of the song "Live and Let Die" by Paul McCartney and Wings, and I'm like,
That was
Yes.
good.
I
was a good scene.
loved the animation that they did with the choir of frogs singing at Harold's funeral.
Yeah.
Yes, that was
And,
perfect.
yeah,
Well done.
very well done, and that is by far one of my all-time favorite solo Beatle member songs. Because, well, I'll be honest with you, of all the songs that all the Beatles all the Beatles did after they went solo, Paul McCartney's are some of my favorites because John Lennon was just too whiny, especially after he got with Miss No Talentless Oh No. Like, oh
Yeah.
no, oh no, yes, oh no, you have talent, but oh no, you don't. Anyway, let me ask you, and we can sorry. Of the two villains that we've got in these two movies, okay, they're not meant to be liked, but who'd you like better? Who was more fleshed out? Was it Rumple or was it Charming? Or not so charming?
I feel like Charming was more because we had seen him in the other movie that he was a little more well. I mean, also he's a lot more. I mean, like just the idea of Charming, he's a lot more established in that. You know what his role is supposed to be. right? Like he's supposed to be the savior and stuff like that. So uh, without that, suddenly it's like, oh, he's got to redefine himself somehow, but he has no idea
Mhm.
how. So instead of doing that, he just gets mad and he wants to try to he wants to try and take the tincture. So,
I would say
Yeah,
Rumple's more fleshed out than Prince Charming to me because we already knew he was a villain already because we've read the fairy tale and stuff like that, and we somewhat can tell because when you first see that goose is menacing. I think it's terrifying. Fifi is not
Yeah.
exactly a friendly looking goose. I'm like, okay.
Fifi.
Anybody that has that kind of goose is like, okay, I'm out of here. Bye.
I think I was calling him a killer duck at first or something.
Yes, you
With the
were.
teeth.
Yes, you were.
Yeah,
Fifi, the killer goose from some dark, unholy dimension where geese have teeth and are ill-tempered.
From the Tim Burton universe, I think.
oh yeah, that one.
Yeah. Fifi is from a dark parallel universe created by Tim Burton.
From Halloween Town.
No, even the fine people of Halloween Town be like, get that goose out of here, or we're gonna fix it for dinner. Although
That's our
I have
Christmas
to,
dinner.
or just Halloween dinner, or just any dinner in general. And let's be honest here, as big as Fifi is, Fifi could feed a lot of people.
Oh yeah. Nobody will go hungry with Fifi around.
Unless Oogie Boogie decided to hog Oliver. Now, I will say, going back to Shrek the Third, the introduction of the princesses and their combat abilities, and the fact that Snow White had a tattoo of Dopey on her arm.
Oh yes.
I
Yes.
loved that, and the fact that we were talking about this a little bit before we went live. The fact that Lillian told Fiona, "You didn't really think you got your combat abilities from your father, did you? You got them from
Yeah.
me, because Lillian has a very hard head, and she can shatter stone walls with it. Although she does have a limit."
True. But she is sort of like afterwards she's singing my favorite things. If you hear the da 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 da. So that was a nice little cute thing for Julie Andrews fans. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I have to admit, having Julie Andrews in Shrek 2 and Shrek the Third, you could tell she had a good time with these. You really could.
Yeah.
You could, and she's found a new niche that we discussed this last time as a voice actress. She's done this, and she's done the voice of Lady Whistledown from Bridgerton, and she's done various other things. And she has a perfect voice for it. It's very grandmotherly, it's very calm and soothing, but it also has a touch of sass to it, which, particularly when she's playing Lillian or Lady Whistledown, works.
True.
Totally works.
Or when she's in the
So-
Princess Diaries, she's very kick-ass in that too,
Oh,
for sure.
I will say this: I like the first Princess Diaries better, the first one, than I do number
True.
2.
That's very
Now,
true. I
I've-
will agree with you there.
Because let's be honest here, they went too cliche and too cartoony with Princess Diaries 2. Now, I have heard, and I don't know if there's any truth to it, now that she has done Devil Wears Prada 2, there is talk that they are possibly going to do Princess Diaries 3, where Mia does become queen properly, or something along those lines.
Yeah, I've heard
And
that.
I think they're gonna go back to basics with number 3 and have it based more so on the first movie, and kind of go, yeah, the second movie doesn't really count because, well, we were kind of shoehorned by the evil mouse to make that movie, and we didn't like it.
But it did introduce us to Chris Pine in that movie, so
That is true. That is one good thing. Although I will say, I
Yeah.
count Chris Pine's theatrical debut in the first Star Trek from
That's fair.
2000. I'm trying to remember what
Yeah.
year the first.
2009.
What,
2009.
what was it? 09? Okay, I thought it was. I couldn't remember.
Hmm.
So, well, let me ask you, what did you think of the relationship between Shrek and Artie once they meet? So, your thoughts on that particular relationship? Your thoughts, guys?
I mean, I feel like when he realized, oh, like, this guy, if this guy can make a good king, he was like, okay, well, I can use him. But otherwise, I don't think he would have otherwise, I don't think Shrek would have really given him the time of day.
Yeah, similar to when Shrek first meets Donkey, like he doesn't want anything to do with him and stuff like that, and he sort of gives
Right.
the brush off, like I don't want anything to do with this kid. Because at first he's misconception, he thinks this big brawny guy, which I believe is Lancelot,
Yes.
and he finds out that's actually Artie is this pipsqueak, and he's like, wait a minute, and they're like, where's Artie? And they're all pointing to the little pipsqueak in the corner, and he's like,
Mhm.
am I in the right place?
Yes, you are, but it's not. You're in the right place. You just don't think you have the wrong person. And
Yeah.
I did like the little nods to the Arthurian legend, because you had Lancelot, obviously, and you had the one girl who turned out to be Guinevere, who
Yes.
Arthur was in love with, but she wouldn't give him the time of day. Let me ask you, what did you think of the mashup of them talking like 90s slang, but mixing it with medieval-esque speech? Because I found that hilarious, but that's just my.
I was fine with. I was.
I
fine
loved
with
it. I thought it was perfect for it.
It's not a period piece, so yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't
obviously.
have to be, medieval.
It's hilarious the way they do it, because it's like, oh, wait a minute. She goes, we're 4,000 loser. And I'm like, wait a minute. She sounds like a valley girl, but she sounds like
A
medieval.
medieval valley girl.
Right?
It's great in Shrek, not so much in Star Trek.
Way better than that. Anyway.
Yeah, I when they first walk into Worcestershire, and yes, I pronounce it that way because that is the proper way. At least that's the proper way that I pronounce it, because that's how it's spelled. Worcestershire.
Okay.
Worcestershire.
Yeah, because God, the last time I tried to pronounce that was that South Park episode where they
Oh, Worcestershire.
they put that sauce into Kenny's system and
Oh.
Oh yeah, that was the first Halloween episode where they revive Kenny and he turns into a zombie because they instead of blood they put Worcestershire sauce in him. I remember that.
They think he has pink eye.
And everybody's got pink eye, and everybody's eating, and they're all eating people.
And then Chef turned into basically Michael Jackson. I'm gonna make love.
More like a Barry White thing. He was more like Barry White there, sweetheart.
Well, he was doing the Thriller thing. That's why I said Michael
True.
Jackson.
I will say that.
Yeah.
Yes, true.
And
Make
that's a
love.
movie. That is definitely a movie I need to do a review of. South Park, bigger, longer, and uncut. I love that movie.
We should do a review of that. And that's a decent film. It still holds up.
That is by far one of my all-time favorite comedies.
It still holds up.
Yes, it does. Especially the fact that Satan is Saddam Hussein's lover.
Yes. Yes. And then they sort of revisited that in the last season, except instead of it's Saddam Hussein, it was a different person.
Right. That was interesting.
Was it a certain false prophet that like several million people revere?
Yeah, the orange Cheeto. Yes.
She said she said the word Cheeto. I was gonna be nicer.
Sorry, but that's what happens when I hang around people who don't like go. They all say that.
Yes, yes.
I was being nice.
We
Well,
are
I
being
did-
like privately we don't don't like that guy a lot at all.
I think if you're outside of a particular okay, I'm trying not to get my channel canceled and the stream yanked.
Right.
If you do not exist within a certain theological group, nobody really likes that particular person.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
anyway,
but
now
you know,
anyway,
on
back
the
to
other
something
hand,
a little more safe. Yeah, back to something a
Yes.
little more safe. I find it just a little bit vexing that every time a large group of people attack, they take out Dragon. They incapacitate Dragon. The only time she really gets to kick ass is in the first movie.
that's true.
That's
Because
very true.
I hate
I
that
mean-
because they have a fire-breathing engine of destruction. And now her offspring, who could probably wreak some havoc themselves, and she gets taken out almost immediately because they're like, "Oh, we got to take out the dragon first because we know that that's going to be the biggest trouble."
Right, that's the
No.
overpowered thing. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just to me, that's just not fair.
Yeah, that's messed up.
I always felt like
Whereas-
that was a narrative decision. So it's like sometimes when you get someone who's overpowering, you don't necessarily put them in right away, or you incapacitate them so that the other people will have a chance to shine and stuff like that. Like
I get that. I get
like
that
in
to a
End-
degree.
they had Captain Marvel, but Captain Marvel didn't come out until like the last 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because she was so OP, she'd been like, I got all this. Y'all just sit back and watch.
Yeah, and they show you that when in the Thor movie that came after that, because you see him going with the Guardians, and the Guardians are like fighting and fighting and fighting, and he's just kind of dragging his feet. And when they finally said, "Thor, we need you," he just cleans up house by himself basically, and the other ones are just like, "Well, you could have just did that and saved us trouble."
Pretty much. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
So I do think when they do that, it's a narrative thing.
And here's the thing. I do understand that. I'm not trying to be a whiny little brat here or anything. It's just like, let Dragon strut just a little.
Yeah.
Let her eat a few pirates and a few undead knights and stuff, and let her have some fun for a change instead of just.
She has eaten a few people.
Well, she ate Farquaad in the first movie, and that was awesome because let's be honest, Farquaad was an ass.
Yeah, he deserved that.
He was more of an ass than.
Oh, man, I can't
Okay.
feel my toes.
I think I need a hug.
Oh,
Well, I know I'm quoting Donkey.
I know.
And the other thing that let me ask you guys the dynamic between Donkey and Puss when it's just the two of them. I didn't know Antonio Banderas could be such a good comedic actor, especially a voice actor. But him as Puss, and him and the energy between him and Eddie Murphy, it's just so damn infectious.
Yes,
I know
it's
they're-
hilarious.
It's the buddy comedy that we deserve but never really got.
I would have watched a Puss and Donkey movie. I
Just those
totally
two,
would.
yeah.
Yeah, just
That's
those
true.
two. They could have carried their own movie.
That's
even
true.
if it was just direct to video, they still could have carried their own damn movie, and it would have been awesome.
I would have seen.
I
I
would
would
have bought that sucker in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I
DreamWorks,
mean,
give us the Puss and Donkey movie. Even if it's
yeah,
direct to video, we don't care. Give us that
yeah.
movie.
I mean,
Yes.
I know they did the Puss in Boots one, but it had a different vibe. I will say that much because it's like
Yeah.
you see him as like it's missing something. It's like it's missing that nostalgia with the other characters in it, basically.
missing Donkey.
But don't get back in the movie.
Well, here's the thing. I know they did what, one or two Puss in Boot movies. I know
Something
they did
like
one.
that too.
Puss.
I think two
They
or
did
three.
one Puss in Boots, The Final Wish, and I think they did one before that. I think.
Yeah,
It
they
has
did. They
been
had
so
one just
long.
called Puss in Boots. Yes, they did too.
Yeah.
That I know of.
And I have to admit, him as Puss in Boots in those two movies was way better than the second Zorro movie.
Oh yeah.
It's as I said before, it's a perfect casting. Antonio Banderas as Puss in Boots. Yeah,
Oh yeah. He's excellent at that.
and the moments he acts like a cat is like the funniest things.
Yes, he's like, I'm all exposed and nasty.
I also
Partic-
like when it came to the fourth movie. I also liked when they switched bodies.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
where
that
he
was
turns into a big, furry fat ass.
Yes.
that was funny.
That was hilarious.
And then at the end, when he decides to get back into action,
I remember
Go.
I called him Fat Puss, and then I was like, no, I shouldn't call him that. I shouldn't call him that. It was because I was thinking like Fat Thor. Because
Yeah, but that works.
Thor was fat. But then it was like, oh wait, well I can't use the word fat. Yeah, no, because that means something else.
oh,
That's a fat kitty.
this stream is not meant for children. If you have children, if children are watching this live or will be watching this on the replay, skip over this part.
Consult your parental unit.
This stream is rated PG-13. Parental guidance for anybody under the age of 13 is suggested. Fun fact, the first PG-13 movie I ever went to see, I think was Gremlins. The first Gremlins,
Okay.
I think. Because I went to see when they finally did Gremlins, the new batch. I actually argued with my mom about whether or not I could see that movie, and she's like, "Honey, you were a little kid when we went to take you to see the original Gremlins. You're older now. You can see this. It's okay." I'm like, "Oh." She's like, "I'll be with you." I'm like, "Oh yeah." It was one of those weird arguments I had with Mother Ambassador when I was a kid. Like, Mom, I don't think I'm supposed to see this movie. She's like, "Honey, it's okay." And we've got
Where'd you go?
Ooh.
Oh,
Hello.
I can't put my.
Uh-oh.
I'm trying to pull them back out.
Oh, there we go.
we are experiencing we experienced technical difficulties. Welcome back. Anyway, as I was saying before, I got disconnected. We got done watching Shrek, Gremlins the new batch, and we were walking out, and I was like, "Mom," she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "That was probably better than the first one." She's like, "It was pretty good."
I remember thinking the same thing when I was young, and then when I rewatched the movies as an adult, I changed my mind. The first one is totally better in my opinion. The second one, they did something in the second one where it was like they brought in like I guess because Warner Brothers is part of it, they Looney Tunes did up or whatever. They brought in that represented like Daffy Duck and stuff like that.
Well, not to mention you had several cameos by horror movie actors and so on, which I actually liked the cameos because you had John Aston, who was of course Gomez Adams. You had Christopher Lee, who
Yeah.
was not dead, just in regeneration mode because he'll awake in 200 years. Hey, that's the rumor. A man that
Right.
awesome doesn't die; he just goes into regeneration. He's like the Doctor, only not really. He's more
I mean,
awesome than Could
Yeah,
you
and then
imagine?
he's not a horror actor, but we also had Robert Picardo in it. He was really good. He was hilarious as
That's
the
right. We did have Well, he's a Trek actor because he played the Doctor on Voyager.
yes, he's a
So,
Trek actor, not a horror actor.
He's also on
but
Stargate Atlantis, and also he was on Smallville and a couple of other things too.
And he's also in the new show, the Starfleet.
And he was on Smallville, which
we don't acknowledge that new show, Jack.
that doesn't exist.
Even
Yeah,
I who have not watched that show know how horrendous that show is, and I don't acknowledge it.
yeah, that doesn't exist in this universe.
Hopefully in a few more months, Skydance will stop acknowledging it too.
Right.
We can hope. But anyway, all right. And one more little tidbit about Gremlins: The New Batch. The voice of Brainy Gremlin, the one, the only, you know him, you love him, the late great Tony Randall. Loved him as the voice because I kept asking. After we got out of the movie, I was like, "Mom, I recognize that voice." She's like, "Didn't you see the credits?" I was like, "No, I guess I missed it." She's like, "That was Tony Randall, honey." I was like, Tony Randall. She's like, "Honey." I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Odd Couple, Felix." I'm like, "Oh." Because I grew up watching, I only saw the movie once, but I grew up watching the TV show with, oh, it was, I don't think it was, no, it wasn't, no, it was, no, Jack Lemmon was in the TV show, Tony Randall, no, Jack Lemmon was in the movie, Tony Randall was Felix in the TV show, and it was the other older guy who played Quincy that played Oscar. At least I think that was the other guy's name.
Because I know Walter Matthau was in the movies.
Yeah, Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon were Felix and Oscar in The Odd Couple, the movie, and it was Tony Randall and the other guy who, like I said, played Quincy, for those of us that might be old enough to remember Quincy, the TV show, and everything, who played Oscar. So, but anyway, back to Shrek. I have to admit, I like the resolution in this one. It isn't quite as actiony, but then again, none of them really are. There is some action in the conclusion, but it's more of a introspective conclusion because there's always a really good speech. At least I think there are good speeches in the first two movies, and I think this one has one too by Arthur. And he's like, you guys don't have to be the villains. You don't have to be losers. What did you always want to be? And they come to realize that they all have their own talents or their own dreams that they wanted to fulfill. And in Arthur's kingdom, they have that potential to do it because, let's be honest here, if what Captain Hook said is true about him growing flowers, I would go to his floral shop. Because why wouldn't you? Because he's got one of the perfect pruning tools. He has a hook.
Yeah,
that's true.
I would buy flour, and he could probably hire certain members of his crew that have the gift to arrange flowers. He just has to teach them. I would buy flowers from Captain Hook to give to my loved ones.
if he had a good selection of flowers, yeah, course.
Yeah,
It kind of reminds
absolutely.
me of the movie Tangled, where they had that song "I Have a Dream" kind of thing, and they have all these
Mhm.
different villains singing in the Snuggly Duckling, basically, and they're all singing their dreams and stuff like that. And Finn or Eugene says he thinks it's silly and stupid and stuff like that. But it reminds me of that when Captain Hook says he has the dream to make the flowers and stuff.
And of course, now the other thing that I enjoyed was when Shrek is trying to save Arthur, and he's just running him down, and he's leaving, and Donkey and Puss and everything kind of catch him. And they're like, "Where are you going?" There, he's like, "I'm going back to Worcestershire." They're like, "Don't you realize Shrek said all those things to save your ass so that Charming wouldn't kill you or shove you in a prison cell or something?" He's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll go back then." And he ends up
Mm-hmm.
saving everybody, and he doesn't use a sword or anything else. But Charming, being Charming, he gets crushed by his own ego, or in this case, a very flimsily built tower.
Yes.
And I have to admit, let me ask you both: the fact that Rapunzel's hair was just a wig,
That was hilarious. It was perfect.
just another. Now I can't. I don't think Tangled had come out yet. Had it?
No.
No, it
Tangled
came.
came out
Yeah,
in
I thought I didn't.
2010.
Yeah, it came out after, but the fact that and the fact that they use "Immigrant Song" by Led Zeppelin as Snow
Yes.
White's battle cry.
Yes. Yes.
I'm trying to think of what her ability would be called. It's almost like animal charming, or she's like a nature siren, where she can control animals through her voice or her singing.
I think it's like magnetism kind of thing.
Something like that. I'm trying to put it in the context of, like, fantasy
Right.
or Dungeons and Dragons or something like that.
Of course. No, I get what you're saying.
So, but again, that dopey tattoo on her arm.
Yeah.
She
I
always
think the
loved
other side
dopey.
it says grumpy if you paused it, I think they said.
Well, for all we know, Grumpy might be good in bed too. You know what they say about dwarves?
What do they say about dwarves?
Well, that they're anatomically well endowed. Let's just put it that way. And not again. We all just froze. Damn it.
I think we did. Yeah. Hold on.
Ooh.
Okay, there we go. We're back.
Okay.
Because you, Alicia, you and Alicia were doing a good imitation of Max Headroom.
Whoops.
So, all right. Any other thoughts? I mean, we can come back to it. But any other thoughts on Shrek the Third before we move on to Shrek Ever After?
So the reveal where Fiona finally tells him that she's pregnant, and she keeps getting interrupted by the foghorn thing. She says, "I," he's like, "I,"
Yeah.
and he's like, "I, you too." And then he finally takes the horn away from the guy. She's like, "I'm pregnant," and he's like, "Oh." Oh, and he has all these nightmares where he sees Donkey with the
where he's
tractor.
literally drowning in babies. Not just any type of baby ogres. And then he has a dream within a dream where Donkey has a baby ogre face, and that has got to be one of the most horrific things I have ever seen in my life. Like,
Dada!
like that even I haven't. I'm like, that is absolutely horrifying. Just horror and nightmare fuel of a kind I did not know existed.
Yes.
Absolutely had no idea that this type of like just give me regular donkey, please. Give me this
Right.
donkey here.
Right. We'll stick to that one.
I do feel like the fourth one was something where they kind of ran out of ideas, so they decided to kind of like throw everything into a blender
Mhm.
in a way, and be like,
Yeah.
okay, what if we change, what if we put them in this like universe per se, where Fiona never found her true love, but she was fighting, she did her own fighting, and Puss in Boots was just a cat, just a fat cat, and Donkey, uh, never got a nice comb. Donkey never got a nice comb on his fur because he was all like raggedy.
Well, he never met somebody that would, appreciate him and love him. All he was ever seen is a talking beast of burden who gets whipped by the witches, and he sings. But the only reason he sings is to kind of take his mind off the fact that he's just pulling wagons with ogres that have been captured. Now,
Yeah.
I will
For
say
the witches, yes.
yeah, for the now I will say this was last night was the first time that I ever watched Shrek Ever After, because I was always kind of on the fence about it. But I was like, well, we're just going to discuss it, so I need to watch it.
Mhm.
And I will
Same here.
say I don't like it as much as the first three or even the first one, because the first one will always be my favorite. Always, always,
Mhm.
always. And so on. And I kind of felt the same way that Jack does, in a way, where they came up with an alternate universe story, yet they said in a fantasy realm. It almost felt like, and you all might agree with me on this, it almost felt like Shrek meets It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I could definitely see
Now,
that.
don't get
I
now,
was
don't get me
thinking
wrong.
more of a what if situation, like Shrek in a what if Marvel what if show or something.
Ah.
Yeah, but the way they framed it is he was never born. He never existed, and this is the world
Mhm.
as it became and everything, because he never existed. Yet he came back into the world and everything, and so one day as an ogre, and he gets brought before Rumple. And now I will say, Rumple, he had the potential to be a good villain, but the only thing is he had no real power. He wasn't like Fairy Godmother, who was actually very dangerous as a magic user, and he wasn't quite as cunning as, I would say, Lord Farquaad. Because let's be honest here, yeah, Farquaad was short, but he was devious, he was crafty, and I will say this: I think of all of the four villains, his motivation, except for removing all the fairy tale creatures from the land, he just wanted to be a king. Now
Mhm.
that's not necessarily a bad thing, because as far as we could tell, yeah, he was kind of strict. Yes, he was a bit of a jerk, but he wasn't what I would categorize as necessarily evil. And I think
No.
now he wasn't evil in a what we would think as a truly villainous evil character from a fantasy story. He was a happenstance type of villain. He wanted to be a king, and the best way for him to do that would to be marry a princess, and she would become his queen, and he would become the king. Nothing inherently wrong with that.
No.
So, like I said, he was a bit of a jerk, and yeah, and he didn't want fairy tale creatures in his land. So yeah, that was kind of rotten thing to do. But I don't want to dwell on it for too long. But Rumpelstiltskin, he had a grudge with Shrek because Harold and Lillian were about to sign away the kingdom so that they could lift the curse off of Fiona.
Mm.
But
Mhm.
then all of a sudden, Fiona gets rescued, and his whole world just goes kaflooey.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's a little
he
similar to the
essentially,
Prince Charmers thing, actually, when you look
in a
back at
manner,
it, because he was
yeah,
supposed to do something, and then he wasn't able to fulfill that because Shrek saved Fiona that time.
now he's got a grudge, and I'm not gonna say it's necessarily unjustified and everything, but at the same time, find something else to do with your life besides, you know, making deals with people, and everything to sucker them and screw them. Now, I know the classic character of Rumpelstiltskin is a true villain. I mean, we have a very good adaptation of the character in the series Once Upon a Time, played by Robert Carlyle. And you want a really good Rumpelstiltskin? Robert Carlyle nails it. Now, his character does go through a bit of a evolution and a character arc throughout the series. I don't know if either one of you have ever watched Once Upon a Time or not,
Not yet,
but
no.
I think I think y'all might enjoy it. Me and Mam Ambassador started watching it years ago, but unfortunately, due to life just kind of getting in the way, we unfortunately stopped and everything. And I think we stopped in like season 3 or season 4, somewhere along in there. So, but the one thing I have to ask is, in Shrek 1 through 3, where the hell are all the ogres? Because all of a sudden in Shrek Ever After, it's Ogre Palooza. Where the hell are all
Right?
the ogres?
That's true.
Did he pull those
Because we
ogres
see-
out of like that other universe or that other world that he was in? That's what it felt like. It felt like the world that he got put in,
Yeah.
right? Is where all those ogres were. I mean, who knows? Like maybe the world that he lives in now, all the ogres are gone because they hunted him down or something. And this one, there's still like a land where there's ogres, and
Yeah.
he brings, and at the end he brings them to his realm where they can be free and live peacefully
Yeah.
in a swamp.
And I well, in a one big swamp, essentially, yeah. And I will say there is one thing that they do, that one little new tidbit that they do, and that's the fact, because if you look at the ears on the ogres in the Shrek movies, and what they do is they hold their nose and they'll, and it makes a really cool kind of musical note and everything. You're thinking,
Yeah,
well, those do kind of look like a musical horn, so that kind of does make sense.
yeah, and they do this thing where it's like, oh, I didn't know we can do that. Like, yeah,
Yeah, even Shrek didn't know that. I guess his
Yeah.
dad never showed him how.
no.
So,
So I did like that aspect
and
of the fourth one, where like he gets to meet
Yeah.
his own people and he learns that he can do little horn things and then he brings them over to his realm.
now the other thing that I did enjoy about Shrek Ever After, and we kind of discussed this, and we also discussed this before we got started. You really do get the sense that Shrek has finally gone through this evolution through all 4 movies, and he finally realizes, because the whole crux of this is he makes a wish because he's having a really crappy time at his kid's first birthday party, and there's this one
Yes.
annoying kid that keeps saying, "Do the roar, do the roar, Daddy, make him
Oh
do the
God.
roar."
Yeah.
Yes.
And I hated that kid. He was like Augustus Gloop's evil twin, even though Augustus Gloop wasn't necessarily the nicest kid, but even Augustus Gloop had more than that kid.
Hmm.
Reminds me of the
Hated
little
that
girl
kid.
from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where she's like,
Oh, Veruca.
yes, yes.
I want it now.
That's who she reminded me of. Or he
A little
reminded me
bit,
of her.
yeah,
I can see that.
yeah. No,
Maybe a
I
combination
get
of
what you're
both
saying,
of them.
Jack, and I, ugh, yeah. Excuse me. And the pigs keep eating all the cakes, and they finally find a cake, and they eat that cake too. Well, no, they don't eat that cake, but Shrek loses it because everybody's just crushing down on him, and he's like, he smashes the cake and he walks out, and Fiona goes after him, and she's like, "Honey, is this really how you want your children's first birthday to be like?" And he's like, "Maybe I wish I had never saved you and we didn't have kids." Because this movie does go a little bit dark and everything, particularly with Shrek.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know, as I said, for this entire group, but particularly for Shrek, his life before he met Fiona wasn't that much dissimilar from the life that he had with Fiona and the kids. He had a routine.
Mm-hmm.
He scared villagers. He ate a swamp cuisine. He took mud baths. He went to the outhouse, and so on. But by the end of this movie, he finally realizes, yeah, there is a routine to all this, but it's a routine and it's a life that I've come to realize that I really do appreciate and I enjoy, and I do love my wife, and I do love my kids, and I do love my friends, and I do love my mother-in-law. Because let's be honest here, Lillian is a good mother-in-law. She isn't too bossy. She isn't too overbearing, even though she is a former queen
Mhm.
and everything. But she's a good grandmother, especially, and I think a good great aunt to the donkey kids,
Oh yeah.
to dragon and donkeys kids.
Yeah.
And I have to let me ask you: can you think of 3 more adorable names for ogre's children?
No, those were actually really.
Alicia, Sparkle, and Fergus.
Those suit those kids so well.
I love those names.
Those are good names.
And the fact that Shrek and Fiona, when she finally does kiss him and everything towards the end before he disappears, but he doesn't die, thankfully, because he does break the curse. They realize that they did break the curse, and they did fulfill the clause in the deal that Shrek signed.
Mm-hmm.
When they both say, I always wanted a daughter named Felicia. And that's what nails it for Fiona.
Yeah.
So the only thing that I was kind of sad about was the fact that we didn't really have a nice musical number in this movie, kind of like what we did in the other 3. And
Yeah.
the soundtrack, the soundtrack for this one wasn't quite as memorable as the other 3.
True. We
So-
did get a dance sequence though by the Pied Piper, which was kind of cool with his lovely flute. That way, that was fun.
I have kind of a love-hate relationship with the Pied Piper because this guy is too OP. Kind of like what we were talking about with Dragon.
True.
Oh, you have a magic flute that just you happen to have settings for all the different type of fairy tale creatures that you can control. And I'm like, I don't like you. I never really liked the character of the in the original story because I don't know if either one of you remember this, but I think it was like on CBS or something, or ABC or one and everything during the Saturday morning cartoons back when there was such a thing as Saturday morning cartoons. They would do animated shows and everything on old fairy tales, and one of them that they did was actually on the Pied Piper. But what ends up happening is the Pied Piper ends up kidnapping all the kids out of the little town.
I think I remember hearing about that one.
And yeah, that's why I always dislike the Pied Piper, because he kidnaps children. What a freaking sleazebag.
Right.
Kidnap children. Innocent children.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know if he gets taken out in the... I can't remember if he gets captured or destroyed or whatever in the movie and everything or not.
I don't think so.
No, I think he actually ends up switching sides, and because he starts controlling Rumple or the goose or something in the other when they get back to the normal world, or something along those lines, or he just goes to being a musician and not controlling people with music. So now the one thing I did like is also the callback to the one witch's weakness, water.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
like
water,
water.
yeah.
Just, so yeah,
the
we
water thing
were
from
we were talking about like the species of witch that those were, and I kept calling them I kept saying like those were the Wicked Witch of the West species, because they were all green,
Mhm.
right? They all looked the same, and
Yeah.
then finally when you put water on them, they would melt, and I was like, yes, those are Wicked Witch of the Wests. just multiplied like as if they were in like the epic ultimate battle simulator. You can have like 50 Batman against 1,000 Jokers.
I know
something.
I know exactly what you're talking about, because I watched one not too long ago, and it was like an army of xenomorphs or something versus the like trying to storm Vader's fortress or castle or something. It was just a generic
That's a good
fortress. It
idea.
wasn't actually his fortress, but it was
Right.
outfitted with AT-ATs and stormtroopers and all this other stuff. And I think he had a couple of inquisitors or something along those lines.
Giving me
And
some ideas.
eventually they do wipe out all the xenomorphs. So
Mm.
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, Jack. I do enjoy those videos very much. So well, let me ask you, of the 4 movies, what's y'all's personal rankings? One
I
through
feel
4?
like it's I feel like it's in order. The first one is the best. The second one is in my opinion, the second one is almost as good as the best. It's pretty
That's
high
okay.
up there.
Mhm.
The third one is the third best, but it's like a little diminished.
Yeah.
And then the fourth one I feel like is the least the least best of them all. And that's only because instead of actually following like the main story that they had been following, they decided to kind of switch it up. And what if we went into this alternate universe? You know, just felt like a what if scenario to me for that fourth one.
Mine was probably 2, 1. Let me see it. So for me, my order is probably like 2, 1, 3, then 4. Because 2, I love the fact that we get introduced to somebody to that, and I love his introduction, his interactions, because his is a little bit more fleshed out and stuff like that. So I like that, and I also like the fact that we get a little bit more about Fiona's backstory a little bit with her parents. So that was pretty cool. The first one, the Lord Farquaad stuff was a little bit sketchy because it felt like it was just like, okay, it's just filler at this point. The third one, was kind of funny with the what if stuff kind of thing, with the alternate thing for sure. And then the fourth one, it just felt like they were just trying to wrap everything up for a Freaky Friday kind of scenario kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. For me, I'm kind of in the same mindset as you, Alicia. The first one will always be my favorite, but number 2 is just like it's right there because
Right.
you get the introduction of Puss in Boots. You have a really good villain with the fairy godmother, and then of course you have Prince Charming as the doofy sidekick, sort of, and the doofy son, but she loves her son obviously, and she wants what's best for him, which any mother would. Any mother would do for her son what fairy godmother did for Prince Charming.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. And then number 3 is, if I was like to rank these, give them a score, Shrek would be a 9. The first Shrek would be a 9.5.
Mm-hmm.
Shrek 2 would be a 9.7. Shrek the third would be like a 7.5 or an 8, and Shrek Ever After would be like, and I don't usually rank movies this low. It's not that I dislike it and I would never watch it again, but it doesn't have that rewatchability like the first 2 or the first 3 do, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I would give Shrek Ever After like a 5.5 or a 6.
Right.
It's not horrible, but it's not as funny as the other 3 are, and especially the first one. And we froze again.
Oh,
so
yeah, we are.
Nope. There we go.
Okay, there we go.
Back.
We're back. Okay, so yeah, but that's kind of my ranking for 4 movies. So,
Yeah,
I do want to
So,
let y'all know we're not
I have
necessarily
this-
wrapping up. Go ahead, Jay.
No,
go
I
ahead,
do
Jay.
have a question
Fine.
for you.
Go
So I've had this idea in my head that if you're gonna make a sequel to a movie,
Mhm.
you got to you got to do it 2 certain ways. One is natural. It's like you just have a good idea, a good follow up idea to your original movie, which would be like a Terminator 2 or even a Shrek 2 or something like that. Or you can do it Lord of the Rings style, where it's like you already have your trilogy. You just
Mhm.
you just put it out that way, or it actually in like the Harry Potter fashion, it was more than a trilogy. I think there's like 8 films they put out and stuff like that.
Yes.
What do you think of the idea of putting out more than what like so once the story is complete, like the Matrix or something, you had 3 Matrix movies that completed that story. And then you did have like the Animatrix that kind of like they were companions and stuff like that. But then like 20, 30 years later, they came out with Matrix 4, and I don't think anyone watched it.
I just real quick tidbit. I did do a review of it and everything. I watched it on HBO Max back when we had that, because I refused to go to the theaters to see it. And by this point, the theaters were back open and everything. I think it came out like 2 or 3 years ago, ish.
Yeah.
The only part about that movie that I actually really enjoyed was the backstory about what happened when the other machines decided to form an alliance with the humans and the others that got released from the Matrix. That was the one cool thing about that movie that I really enjoyed, because I hated Neil Patrick Harris, his character. I like him as an actor, but I hate his character because I didn't call him the analyst. I called him the analyst because he was just anal.
Okay.
He was just an ass. He was just an asshole. He was just an asshole program.
Right.
So, but to answer your question, Jack, I think it depends on how the story itself is written. Because here's the thing with Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, these are franchises that are based off of books that had already been written. These are books
Mhm.
that had already been massively successful, had an established fan base of people that had read the books, and you also had people who had never read the books but had heard from other people that hey, the books are really good, and these movies are probably going to be pretty good, and it turned out to be a very well done franchise.
Mhm.
The same is true with Lord of the Rings. Now, granted, we got The Hobbit, such as it is. I don't dislike the first Hobbit movie, but what they did with the other two movies, I I ended up seeing. I saw the first
I
two
feel
in
like they should have
theaters.
been one. The Hobbit should have just been one movie.
Yeah, and what they should have done was it should have been 1 4 hour movie, and do it old school. Give it an intermission. You can
Mm-mm.
build in an
That'd be fun.
intermission into a Hobbit movie. People would do it. People would go see
Yeah.
it. I would have. I know a lot of people probably would have.
What
There,
was the last?
the,
What was the
the
last movie we watched that had an intermission in it?
Let me
uh,
think.
We watched something recently that had an intermission in it, and it was great because it was like it was at the perfect time. It was done at the perfect timing where it was like, okay, the story is, like the story is wanting us to wanting us to keep watching it. We want to keep watching the movie because of this.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like it's so long. You do need a break. You got to go to the restroom, or you want to like
I c-
just kind of grab some food or
I think it was a
grab.
western or something we were watching. I think it
It was
was.
was it a western? Oh wait, it was that one with the Ogloff guy,
Oh, El Dorado.
El Dorado, El Dorado. So we had um, we have a museum near us, and the museum is of a house that was owned by a guy who lived in this area. He was a Western painter. He was
Yes.
he was a painter of Western art, and his art made it into a John Wayne movie called El Dorado.
oh, I love El Dorado. I have it on Blu-ray. I love that movie.
So the very first sequence where it has all those like paintings of
Mm-hmm.
Western
I
scenes,
know.
that
I
was
know
that was done
exactly.
by one guy. That was done by all one guy, and that guy is also in the movie. He's the gun dealer.
Yeah, the
He's a
Olaf.
sweet.
Oh, yeah, he's
And,
the slave. The actor's name is Olaf Weghorst, I think.
wait, thank
Wine
you.
course. Hold on. Hold on. Let me pull that out real quick. Hold on. Let me get that.
Yeah, we
So,
we got so we actually so about 5 miles away, not even 5 miles away, 2 miles away is
mhm,
where his house is where his house is at. They
mhm.
preserved it and it as a museum and everything. Um,
That's cool.
and like I mean, he was one of the best Western painters of
Mhm.
I would say the modern era. Of
Those
that.
paintings. Well,
Yeah,
just going off of the paintings that they used for the opening of El Dorado. Yeah, I would agree. The paintings that he
yeah. She's
did
she's
for the.
she's bringing out the book. So we have a book of all of his like his complete collection.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's
awesome.
yeah.
That is.
He's such a and there was so much you learn about him just from being in that museum and seeing the artwork
Mhm.
that he did. And I mean, yeah, like we had just discovered that his house was here. There it
Oh
is.
wow. That is. Yep, there he is, Olaf Weghorst.
So his house is like 2 miles away because I found it on Facebook. Somebody was mentioning about a free museum, and I was like, okay, where is it? And we found out we've been driving past it and didn't even realize we were driving past it.
Yeah.
It's out here in El Cajon, and it's here's the cool thing about it. That museum is free to go to, and it's
Mhm.
open on the weekends. And we got to meet the owner who founded the museum that weekend.
Oh wow, now that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's
Yeah,
cool. That.
they'll start you off with those El Dorado clips actually, and then
Yes,
in those in
because he
that
got to
music.
meet Ronald Reagan. He got to meet Clint Eastwood. He got to give a painting to the Pope at one point.
In fact,
That's impressive.
it's either that book or the other one we got, where it's got an introduction from Ronald Reagan.
Hmm.
This one, so here's the thing. This book right here is signed by the author who wrote this book. And he sells these books on eBay.
That's
Yes.
nice. Really.
It's so cool. So I highly, highly recommend this for sure. I got it for about 54
Oh,
bucks.
definitely, because I am. You guys have no idea how much of a fan of John Wayne's movies I am. I'm eventually, probably somewhere along the way, I'm gonna pick back up. I'm still doing it in a manner of speaking, but I'm gonna pick back up on the ultra retro reviews, and I'm gonna go through John Wayne's movies, both his well-known
Ooh.
both his well-known films and his lesser-known ones. I might even do The Conqueror, maybe,
Ooh. Will you do
if
the
I can get
shootist?
my hands on a copy. That's the big thing. If I can get my hands, I probably can just look it up on Amazon or something. Can probably find a copy of it, more than likely. So, but
Nice.
I've always wanted to review John Wayne's movies. You know, the well-known ones, the ones that everybody knows, and the ones that nobody really talks about that much. Everything, and not necessarily not just his westerns, because there's one in particular that I really enjoy. He did in like his, I think he was like in his 30s or so, called Atari. I love that
Oh,
movie.
I think I remember hearing about that one. I know there's one where Sophia Loren whacks him on the face with the frying pan. I absolutely love that one.
I'm not sure which movie that is, but I'll then of course The Quiet Man. I've always wanted to watch that one because I've
Mhm.
heard Madam Ambassador has talked to me about it so much, and you know I think it was like the first movie that him and Maureen O'Hara did together,
Oh yes, because
and
he did that one. He also did the last one I know he did was the shootist because that has Ron Howard, Jimmy Stewart,
yeah,
and
and
I
Lauren
forget the other.
Bacall.
That's
Lauren
it.
Bacall. That one I have only watched maybe twice.
I've seen bits and pieces of that one. I think we picked up a copy of that one at the Goodwill near us at one point.
That one like I said, I've only watched twice because yeah, as you know, in real life, he was dying of cancer. And here's the interesting thing. He wasn't necessarily dying of cancer because of his diet or so and so on. It was because where they shot the Conqueror, it was near one of the nuclear testing sites. And
Uh,
a lot of the actors contracted different forms of cancer from that, unfortunately.
mm,
And
Ah,
it took a long time for it to happen, but eventually a lot of them or all of them succumbed to it. So
mm,
now his diet didn't necessarily help, and the fact that he drank and he smoked and so on, but it wasn't solely that reason that Wayne unfortunately passed away.
mhm.
But that man, even to this day, is still a massive icon of cinema. I mean, his movies are absolutely legendary, and I very rarely use that word for any film or any actor because the man was a legend.
Mhm.
He knew what to give his audience, his fans, because the man had even I think he still does has a very loyal fan base, and his movies are absolutely phenomenal. And the nice thing is, to a degree, just about anyone of any age can watch him and enjoy him. Now,
That's very good.
I will say of the more comedic films that he did, because a lot of his movies, several of his movies have comedic aspects to them, but the one that I see as more of a pure comedy is, of course, McClintock.
Yes.
we still have to
L-
watch that one. That
You've
Yeah,
never
we have.
seen
we were gonna watch
you
that next actually.
Yeah, we'd have
you
that on our
two
next list.
you two have never seen McClintock?
Not yet.
No,
Oh my, you guys are in for a treat. I kid you not. You guys are
Nice.
in for a treat because McClintock, it's got, of course, Maureen O'Hara. It's got Stephanie Powers. It's got a young Jerry Van Dyke. Um,
Ooh.
not Dick Van Dyke, Jerry Van Dyke. Dick Van
No, I
Dyke's
know who you
brother.
mean. That's his brother. Yes, the younger
Yeah.
brother.
I'm trying to think who else is in it, but I'm kind. Oh, damn it! I'm trying to think of the actress's name, but I'm drawing a blank. She played Lillian Munster. She played Sephora in the Ten Commandments.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
What's her name? I know who you're
Yvonne
talking about.
DiCarlo. Yvonne DiCarlo.
yes.
That's
Yes.
her name. She is so good in McClintock. The way her character and Maureen O'Hara's characters play off of each other is absolutely hysterical. And you guys are in for an absolute treat. I am not kidding you.
That's awesome.
Nice. So
So-
the one where she hit him with the frying pan was called Legend of the Lost.
Ah, yes.
I
I do
think I've
think
heard
Olaf
of that
is
one.
in that. I do think Olaf is in McClintock, but he plays a smaller role. I don't even.
Yes.
Think
Yeah.
it's credited.
Yes, he is. He plays a cavalry officer or cavalry soldier, something along those lines.
He
Yeah.
actually
Yeah,
was
he's-
one in real life at one point too.
He was.
That
Yeah,
doesn't
that's how he
surprise
started.
me. That
Yeah.
doesn't surprise me.
That's
Yeah,
how he
because-
knows how to draw horses so well, is because he spent most of his life working with horses.
Yeah, and he could only
Mhm.
speak 3 words of English at first, and he came to the States, and then from there he just took off from there.
Well, yeah, he plays a cavalry officer. He's in the scene where they're having the hearing with the Comanche
Okay.
chiefs.
Nice.
So I don't want to spoil anything for you because y'all have never seen it, but you all are in for that is by far one of Wayne and Maureen O'Hara's. None of the movies that they've done together are bad, but that's one of their best. 'Cause-
Right, one of the legendary ones. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, like I said, it's played more as a straight comedy and a drama more than as a western, but it is set in a western.
Mhm.
It's set in the western genre, and it is in a western scene. Question: have y'all ever seen Chisholm?
No, I have not.
Mm-mm.
Oh boy,
Put that on the list.
Chisholm. Yeah, you guys need. I can give you a whole list of must-sees of John Wayne. Chisholm,
Sounds good.
Chism. It has one of the best opening songs
Ooh.
of any Wayne movie. It's called "The Ballad of John Chisholm,"
Ooh. Okay.
and it is epic.
Nice.
And you guys, I'll give you a list. I'll send you a list on X.
Sounds good.
There's something about westerns where it's like I think it's because westerns feel so far away from like where we are today.
Mhm.
That it just it like it really does feel like an escape.
Mhm.
Whereas,
It is.
whereas there's a lot of television out there where you want to escape, but they won't let you escape.
Right.
Yeah, but westerns. But the great thing about westerns is it's very black and white. In a manner of
Very
speaking. Now there are some westerns and even some of Wayne's westerns where there are some shades of gray. Not too
Mhm.
many, but there is some. And even some of Wayne's movies and everything, he does one where he plays a police detective and everything. It's actually pretty good. It's called McHugh.
I think I've seen that one.
It's actually pretty good. I think it was one of the only ones that he did where he played a cop or a detective or something like that,
Okay.
or private eye. But yeah, it's a good one. It's one of the ones towards the end of his. It's not at the end of his career, but it's getting towards the end of his career.
Mhm.
Right.
So, anyway, I do want to let you all know I will be live again. I will be live again tomorrow night with my friends Ace and Chris Knight and we will be continuing the Mel Brooks podcast. And of course, this month we are doing a story of love and science and terrified horses. Of course, talking about Young Frankenstein, and that will also be 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, and whatever time zone you live in, just make sure you hit the notification so that you are there when me and my buddies go live. And I am working on uh, the next batch of videos and streams and reviews for next month. So keep your eyes on my socials on X and Instagram for updates on that. So, but Jack, Alicia, thank you both for being here tonight. Another great discussion. I hope you both had a lot of fun. I know I did.
Oh yeah.
And to all of you that were here live tonight, I hope you all enjoyed the review as well. Of course, leave your comments down below with anything that me and Jack and Alicia discussed or anything we might have missed with the Shrek films. What were your favorites? Who were your favorite villains? Who were your favorite characters, side characters, or wherever the case may be? But y'all have a great weekend. I'll see y'all tomorrow night. And until next time, be safe out there. And make sure you get your snacks before you go to the cinema.